David Park balanced his daughter, Emma, on his hip as he stared at the checkout line, his stomach tight with worry. She was 3, fussy from teething and hunger, holding her small blanket like a lifeline. He counted the coins in his hand again, pennies, nickels, dimes, and tried not to panic. The formula in front of him cost more than he had. The thought of leaving the store without it made his chest ache. He was a grown man, an architect once respected at a firm, and now he felt like a failure standing here, doing mental math just to feed his child. Emma tugged at his shirt. "Daddy, hungry," she said softly. Her little voice made the knot in his chest tighten. He rubbed her back and whispered, "I know, baby, I know." He glanced at the total again, $17.45. He had $16.88. Not enough. Not even close. He fumbled to gather the coins neatly into a small pile, dropping a few, and Emma's whimpers grew louder. A voice broke through the noise of the fluorescent-lit store. "Do you need a hand?" David looked up to see a woman crouching beside him, gently picking up the coins that had spilled. She looked calm, careful, with a soft, open expression. Her light brown hair was pulled back, and she wore a simple blazer and jeans, nothing flashy, but something about her felt grounding. I'm sorry," David said, flustered. Hey, it's okay," she said. "It's just coins. Here, let me help." She handed the counted change back to him. Her smile wasn't pitying. It was real warm. David felt a wave of gratitude and shame at the same time. "Thank you. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," she said. "Just let me help. What's your daughter's name?" "Emma," he said. Try to smile as she took the blanket from Emma, to distract her. The little girl's crying slowed, her fingers clutching the fabric, curiosity softening the tears. "Emma is beautiful," the woman said. "I'm Clara." David's fingers trembled as he counted the coins again. $16.88, $16.98. He shook his head. "I'm still short." Clara paused for a moment. Then, without hesitation, she said, "Let's fix that." She handed her credit card to the cashier and paid for formula, then added, "I'll have a few more deliveries sent over this month. You don't need to worry." David froze. I can't accept that. This is too much." "No," she said gently. "It's not charity. Think of it as passing forward a kindness someone once gave me. I was in your shoes once, a single mother, struggling to feed my child. Someone helped me then, and I never forgot it. I just want to pay it forward." David stared at her, trying to process. Relief, disbelief, and gratitude collided in his chest. "Thank you," he finally managed. Emma reached toward Clara, and she smiled, letting the little girl pat her hand. "She's smart. She knows who to trust," Clara said lightly. The days that followed were surreal. The formula arrived, and for the first time in months, David felt a sense of relief he hadn't thought he'd feel again. He didn't have to choose between feeding Emma and paying the rent. For the first time in months, he could breathe. A week later, David remembered Clara had offered her help beyond groceries. Hesitant, he called the number she had written on a scrap of paper. "Hello, this is David Park," he said. "We met at the store. I was wondering if you might know anyone who needs architectural drafting work." Clara's voice was warm on the line. "David, I'm so glad you called. Send me your portfolio. I know some people looking for work exactly like yours." 2 days later, Clara called back with an offer. "A friend of mine runs a small residential development company. They need someone to draft designs for 30 houses. Flexible hours, remote work. They're offering $5,000 per house. You're qualified. Your portfolio is excellent. This isn't charity, David. It's business." David's hands shook as he gripped the phone. $150,000 for project. I don't know what to say," he whispered. "Say you'll do good work." "That's all," Clara said. The project was demanding. But for the first time in months, David felt alive doing work he loved. He could buy groceries without counting pennies. He could replace worn shoes, give Emma new books, and slowly rebuild the life he thought he had lost. Weeks turned into months. Clara and David began to talk more about parenting, grief, and the quiet ways life could heal. They shared coffee while Emma napped, talked on the phone about design details, and eventually about their own stories of loss. David spoke of Mia, of the accident that had shattered their family. Clara shared a past she had rarely spoken of, her estrangement from her own family, a time when she had felt completely alone. It wasn't something she shared for sympathy, but because she wanted him to understand the depth behind her kindness. Their friendship deepened naturally, grounded in empathy and shared understanding. It was slow, careful. They respected each other's pace, knowing that rushing love after so much loss could hurt more than it could heal. And slowly, without fanfare, their hearts found a home in each other. Nearly a year after their first meeting at the corner store, David returned there with a small box in his pocket. Emma toddled beside him, chattering about the playground they had visited that morning. David knelt in the aisle, feeling a familiar nervousness. "Clara," he said, opening the box to reveal a simple ring. "I want to ask you something. Will you marry me?" Clara laughed softly, tears glistening. "You're proposing in a grocery store?" David smiled. "It felt right. It's where you saved us." Clara reached out to touch Emma's hand, and then David's. "I'll say yes," she whispered, "because you've shown me the same courage and love I once saw in someone else, the same way you rebuilt hope for your daughter." They married 6 months later. Emma was a flower girl, taking her role seriously, while Clara's grown daughter stood proudly as the maid of honor. Their vows were simple, honest, and full of gratitude for second chances. They often spoke of the corner store, the aisle where kindness had changed everything. Together, David and Clara started a small charity for single parents facing emergency crises. They provided support for food, housing, and childcare. They focused on practical help, ensuring no one had to make the impossible choice David had once faced between feeding his daughter or paying the rent. They understood that even small gestures could make a monumental difference. Years later, people asked him how they met. David would smile, Emma holding his hand, and say, "I was counting pennies in a corner store, desperate, thinking I had nothing left, and someone saw me. She didn't judge me. She didn't turn away. She just helped, and that made all the difference." Claire would add softly, "Sometimes help comes when you least expect it, and sometimes it comes from people who've been where you are. That's how we learn kindness matters more than anything." Their lives, once fractured by loss and fear, had found balance in empathy, care, and shared resilience. A simple act of kindness, extended without hesitation, had not only saved a father and daughter, but had given them the chance to love, to grow, and to give back. In a small corner store, surrounded by fluorescent lights and ordinary aisles, they had discovered something extraordinary: the quiet, transformative power of human connection. David no longer counted pennies. He counted blessings. And he never forgot the woman who, on a day like any other, had made sure it wasn't his last chance.